Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Stampin' Chat with Kay. We are going to focus again, this is kind of like part 2, on the Hummingbird, nope, not the Hummingbird, the Humming Along bundle that Stampin' Up! Is offering in our Occasions catalog. This is a beautiful, beautiful bundle in that you can make hummingbird cards or hibiscus cards, and they are gorgeous and so much fun to color with our Stampin' blends. So I'm going to take the time again today to really go over in detail how to color the hummingbird. And of course, it always helps to Google images of hummingbirds. Maybe you want to find a hummingbird in your area because there's just so many different colors. It's amazing. I think you could almost do anything and it would look great. So if you're not fussy, don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. So welcome, Sandy. Welcome, Marty. Welcome, Yvonne. It's so nice to have you here. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for joining me. I can see the regulars coming on. I really appreciate it. I try to advertise what I'll be doing for the week on Mondays. I try to do 2 videos a week, but I don't always get that done. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's none. Just depends on how the week goes. This week was kind of a fun week because we got to do 2 videos, and both of them focused on the Hummingbird bundle. So I will show you the card that I made on Tuesday, and you can, go through my Facebook page to find that video, or I will be putting it up on my blog at stampingtoshare.com very soon, probably maybe today, maybe tomorrow, not sure. I do have a couple of appointments this afternoon, and my daughter is moving home today. So I'm so excited. She's the one that just graduated with her nursing degree. And so she had to do some oh no, I'm not going to be able to say it. Oh shoot. I don't know, it's some kind of nurse's training where she did 3 days of intense training to teach her how to study for the nursing board. And of course, I can't remember now how to say the training that she did, but she studied really, really hard. I talked to her last night and she said it was so good. She actually paid for this training, I believe, her first year in nursing. But they actually have to complete the entire program in order to utilize the training. So she said it was really a great training. And she feels like she's going to be much more prepared for her boards. Oh yes, she's my little boomerang girl. She's coming back home to live. She wants to save some money. So yes, it's a great day. So I can hardly wait. Of course, we still have a few things to do in Duluth. We have to get her bed home yet because that's still at her house. So anyway, I'll stop babbling about my family here and get started with this. I just want to give you guys all a little bit of time to, get situated here. So let me go ahead, flip the camera down, and I'll show you the cards from the Hummingbird. I keep calling it the Hummingbird bundle, but it's the Humming Along bundle. All right, give me a second. Okay, so you can see that this is the beautiful hibiscus card that I recently created. I actually created this in honor of the fact that I will be soon earning a trip to Maui. So very excited about that. I had a couple more customer orders yesterday, and I'm hoping for a couple more. I'd really like to earn the trip before the end of the week. So if anyone does want to get the Hummingbird bundle, I would really appreciate it. Of course, I'm talking to my customers, not to other people's customers. I wouldn't expect you to order from me, but I appreciate you being here, so thank you. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the card, as I said, I did on Tuesday, and you can go back and look up how to do that on my Facebook page, or I will put it up on my Stamping to Share blog. Then this is the card we're going to do today, and I'm going to share with you how I created this really fun background. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this right now. Let me show you the bundle. Here's the Humming Along bundle. And it includes the stamp set with 3 sentiments. And these sentiments, not only can they be used with the label that comes with the thinlits that coordinate with them, but they also work perfect if you want to punch them out with the tailored tag punch. Sometimes it's kind of a hassle to get that die cutting machine out when you can have a punch that will do the job like boom. So that is why I use this today. So we're just going to do it kind of quick with that sentiment, but I just wanted to show how awesome that looks with the tailored tag punch. All right, so let us get started. The first thing that I'm going to share with you, it's the messiest part of this whole project, is we're going to make this background. You'll notice there's a bunch of ink on there, and you might be wondering how that's done. And I have to share that I actually kind of learned this technique by accident. I'm sure it's not anything spectacular. I'm sure most of you have probably done this. But I was making this card when I was not at home, and I didn't have my Stampin' spritzers with me. And so I had to get my watercolor paper wet somehow so that it would spread the ink. So I actually took the watercolor paper and ran it under the faucet at the sink. And so obviously it was quite wet. And then I dropped some re-inker on it. And unfortunately, I think I've left my re-inker in the other room, wouldn't you know? Shoot. So I have got some prepared in advance, so as you can see, this is what it looks like. And the re-inker that I used was the Balmy Blue. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to reach behind me and grab any old re-inker because it doesn't matter. The technique is the same no matter what re-inker you're using. So I'll make this one a purple background. So I'm going to use Highland Heather. And like I said, I just grabbed any old one because this is a technique that doesn't really, it doesn't matter what color ink refill you're using. So the first thing I have is a bowl because I have to pour my water into something. I'm not at the kitchen sink here. And then secondly, I've got my water in a water bottle. Thank you, Stampin' Up! Very much. This was a fantastic gift from Stampin' Up! When we were on the Alaskan cruise last summer. So I love this, use it all the time. Then we're going to need, okay, I'm just grabbing it here. We're going to need a piece of watercolor paper. Now, you might have noticed, for those of you that have already gotten your catalogs, if you're looking back and forth between what's in the old catalog and what's in the new catalog, the watercolor paper has changed or will be changing. Now, I don't know what the new one is like, but this is using the watercolor paper that you can purchase now through June 3rd. And so it's 4 by 5 1/4. So you can get 2 of these panels from 1 sheet of the watercolor paper. I'm just going to set this in the bowl, and then I'm opening up my bottle of water here. And we're just going to pour the water over the top like this. And then I'm going to flip it around and pour it over again. Then I'm going to grab some paper towels. And we're going to set this on a paper towel. And it sort of looks like this. Then I take the re-inker, which is Highland Heather here. And of course, if you're doing this to create it exactly like what I've done, you would want to use the Balmy Blue, not the Highland Heather. So you just drop it on. And then you can kind of swirl it around, as you can see. And then you're done. Then you just set this aside and let it dry. It looks kind of, and I'll show you some things that make you think you're doing it wrong. So when I first did this, I was like, oh, yuck. I don't like these big, dark, kind of like really intense areas. I thought that looked kind of gross. But let me show you what happens when it dries. When it dries, those drop areas that you drop the water on, they actually fade away. So you just have to be patient and let this dry a little bit. And then also remember that you are going to be cutting out a section of it, and you're going to be putting a bird on it, and you're going to be putting a, what do you call this? A punch out on it. So you know, it's going to be lost in the whole flow of the card. You don't have to worry about that. But I will admit, it was something I worried about when I first did this technique. In fact, I did it. I went, I kind of ignored the whole thing, thinking I wouldn't use the background. And then when I came back to the backgrounds that I had done, I was pleasantly surprised, you know, because it always looks worse when you first do it. And then once it dries, it looks great. So I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to show you the one that we're going to use here and what I did. So give me a second. I've got to grab this piece, which is this really crazy looking die that comes in this set. It creates a really cool kind of like a background image on your card. And so what I did is I set this in, and I want to give you the placement of where I set this in when I ran it through my die cutting machine. So I placed it so that that kind of intense corner right here, it's the only part of the die that actually has a corner. I have that going into the upper right area, and then I have it sloping downwards. And that's just how I decided to do it. I'm sure you could do it multiple different ways. Then you run it through the Big Shot or whatever die cutting machine you have. And what I did is I ran it back and forth a couple of times, because remember, you're using watercolor paper, so it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily cut super well the first time through because it's so thick. So once you have that cut, hold on, I'm just going to pull this out. Then you can gently pull this out. And you do want to be gentle because it sort of wants to get caught back in as you're doing it. So this is a little bit pokey. So maybe I can read comments. Oh, you guys are so nice. You're already sharing, you're commenting. You must be wondering, oh, I wonder what she's going to give away when she does the drawing on Monday. Well, since we're actually using ribbon on this card, I'm going to give away a yard of the Whisper White Flax when I give away the cards on Monday. So I actually have something to give away with it. All right, this is very pokey, but I'm getting there. Almost there. And you know, I should have probably used my die brush, but didn't think of it. All right, so there we have it. We got it all out. So if you want to, you could do something with this if you are so inspired. So you might want to set that aside for some other project that you would want to work on. But this is what we're going to work with today. So we're going to set that aside a bit, and then we're going to grab some of the other things that we're going to need for this card. So you're also going to need a piece of scrap Whisper White, and you are going to need a scrap of Balmy Blue. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the thank you with Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And just give me a second here. I have not, I mean, this was kind of a dry inking, so let me grab something. I want to just do one quick stamp off. Yep, just to make sure this wasn't too dry. All right, so then I'm just gonna stamp the thank you right here and give it a second to go into the paper. That looks good. Then we're going to stamp the hummingbird. So I've got my hummingbird here. You might be wondering, now why did I pick Tuxedo Black ink? The reason I picked the Tuxedo Black Memento ink is we're going to use blends on this image. Typically I like to use Stays On a lot, but Stays On and blends don't work well together because they are both alcohol inks and they will smear if they come in contact with each other. So you want to stay with a water-based black ink, which is what Memento is. And that works great with your blends. Okay, so we've got it all beautifully inked up. We are just going to stamp it right here. Again, giving that a little bit of time, and that looks great. So now what we can do is we can take our, I want to see if I have it here. Yes, I do. The Taylor Tag Punch, and we're going to punch out the thank you. So you just want to center that in. I mean, almost all of us use our punches upside down because it just makes sense, because then you can, if you stamp first and punch second, you can get it very nicely balanced, very nicely centered. Okay, so I'm going to set this way out of the way because we won't need it again. And then what we want to do is do our coloring. So let me grab my Stampin' blends here. And we'll start with the most obvious and easiest thing to color, which would be the beak. All right, so let me find the, oh my goodness, oh, here it is. I wanted to get my memento covered. I don't know, I was just kind of rambling. I don't even know. I said that, did I tell you how to get in the drawing? It's by commenting or sharing this video on your timeline. And then letting me know, of course, that you've shared. All right, sometimes I think I say stuff and then I don't follow up, and it's kind of embarrassing. So I know I had gotten started talking about one thing and then got distracted. All right, so here is our first blend that we're going to use, and it's our dark pumpkin pie. There's two sides to the blend, a brush side and a small side, and it's designated by kind of a brush picture of the marker and a small side. So I'm going to use the small side, and I'm going to color the beak. So we're just going to make that beak orange. I'm choosing orange, but you know, whatever color you Google it might be. Yellow, who knows. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use a combo pack. So you can buy the blends singly or in combos. And we're going to use smoky slate. So I've got the dark and the light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the light, I'm going to use the brush edge, and I am going to color in the ends of the wings, just like this. So give me a second to do that. And we're going to do that right here. So you can see I'm just kind of brushing it on. And then we're going to go down and do just a little bit right here along this secondary level of the tail feathers. All right, I think that's all we need to do with that for the moment. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our dark smoky slate, and again, using the brush end, we're going to come in. And this time going from the other side, we're just going to blend a little bit up this way. And again, I'm using these more like markers. If I were interested in blending here, which actually the blending sort of happens automatically if you do this quick enough. That's kind of the key. So you sort of want to do your blending when it's still pretty wet. And then for this, I don't think I'm going to do anything here. So we're just going to leave that at the bottom. If you want to get a more blended look, one thing you can do is take your light smoky slate, go back in, and just lightly blend over the top of what you just did with the dark smoky slate. So I'll do that and show you what that looks like. That gives a more blended look. And I don't know, I'll hold it up to the camera. As you can see, this is kind of a more blended look. So that's how you blend with the blends. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the next color here that I'm going to work with, which is the balmy blue, and we're going to take the light balmy blue first. And I'm just going to color a little bit here up from the beak, and then I'm going to color in this whole section. And then I'm also going to color this section here. And then I'm going to put some of the balmy blue also right here. And also at the tips of the feathers. And it just looks beautiful. All right, then we can go in with the dark balmy blue, and we are just going to do a little edging here. So I've got the fine tip side, and then I'm just doing little tiny circles and just putting a little bit of an accent on some of this blue. So I think I'll only do about this much. And again, if you want to blend it, go in with your lighter color now. Just kind of blend those edges a little bit. All right, now we have just a little bit more to do here. So we're going to take the Granny Apple Green in, let me check the color. This is the dark Granny Apple Green. And this time I'm going to use the fine end. And we're going to color in here at the top of the head and around through the back. And then I'm going to color back here. And you can all see how very easy this is to do. It's just like coloring with markers, except you get a little bit better of a look. I think what I want to do, let me just check my bird. I'm going to take the light smoky slate now, and I'm going to color in this section here because I forgot to do that. I wanted that a lighter color right there. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of the light smoky slate just down here at the bottom of these feathers. So we don't want them too blue. That looks a little unnatural. And then you can go in however you want. If you want to add a little more dark or a little more light, feel free to do that. So again, we'll take the light smoky slate now and do the back. I could have done this before, I just forgot to. And then you can take the dark smoky slate and again, just kind of do a little blending. Just like that. So you can see you get a lot of dimension with blender pens. It looks really beautiful. Let's see, is there anything else I want to do with this? I do. I think what I want to do next, so I want to take one more color of green, and this is our light mossy meadow. And I am just going to add a little bit of green in a darker color, like right there, and then maybe along the top, and then just a little bit of accent where this all kind of comes together. And that's it. We are done coloring this beautiful, beautiful hummingbird. So here's what it looks like, all fully colored. Hope I'm holding this still enough for you. There's always a delay between what I do and what I actually see on my screen, but I think it turned out really nice. We're not using this one because I already have one pre-cut. So here's what the pre-cut one looks like. And again, it's very similar. I'll hold it up. But as you can see, I kind of did the same technique on both of them. And then what's nice, of course, is when you do get the bundle, you get the cutout for both the hummingbird and the hibiscus. All right, so now let's go ahead and finish putting this card together. So we have to have a card base, right? So our card base is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this is our thick Whisper White because I want a very sturdy card base. I feel like the regular Whisper White, which is what I did for my coloring here on the hummingbird. I used just our regular Whisper White. The part number's 100730. I've ordered it a zillion times in my life. I'll have that number memorized forever. So Stampin' Up! Better not change it. But then this is our heavier Whisper White. It's a thick cardstock. It's great for cards that are going to have a lot of layers, and what's important about this card is it's got a pretty heavy layer in that we're using the watercolor paper. So I'm going to put this down and we can put it straight onto our card. I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue And we're just going to add a line of glue all the way around. You can use the glue with the thick Whisper White cardstock because you won't have to worry about glue lines like you do with the regular Whisper White cardstock. So I've got this all glued up and I'm going to flip it over. The nice thing about glue is I can just wiggle it in exactly where it needs to go so that all 4 borders are nice and even. So we'll just give that a little press. And don't worry about these things popping up. I didn't put any glue on them, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be putting the hummingbird down with some dimensionals, so that's going to hold all of that in place. In fact, that is our next job here, is to get the hummingbird down. So I'm going to do that with some dimensionals. Oops, I got a little, somehow or another, I got glue on my mat, but that's okay. Just rub that off. All right, so we're going to put dimensionals on, and I'm going to do quite a few for 2 purposes. First of all, it'll keep our bird nice and stable, but secondly, it will also hold these little pieces in place. And I think I even want to use a mini dimensional. So I have the regular and the minis up here on the wing. There we go. So now all I have to do is peel off the little peelies here, and then we'll be able to put this on our card. Hi everyone. Oh, we've got so many more that have joined us. Welcome. It's great to have you here. I'm just in the middle of this. If you don't catch the whole thing, you can go back and rewatch it because I will be posting it on my Stamping to Share Facebook page, and then next week it will show up on my blog as well. I'll do the drawing for the giveaway on Monday, and there we go. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? It looks so nice. Now the next thing, and so anyway, I will continue my train of thought. I'll do the drawing on Monday, and I will give away a yard of this ribbon along with the cards. So just make comments or share this video and you're good to go. So now what I want to do is I want to take a piece of the flax and I want to set it about right here because it's going to accent the thank you. So let's figure out exactly where we want this to go. That looks really good. So I like it there. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of Scotch tape and just set that into place. Now the dimensionals that I'm going to use on the thank you will help hold it as well. So I'm going to put dimensionals on all 4 sides so that it's sure to cover the ribbon and to also hold onto the card. So give me a second to get these peelies off. And now we'll just set this right over that ribbon. Let me make sure that looks really good. And I think that it does. There we go. So now I just press that into place. So it's also helping to hold on to the flax. And I like it. I think it looks really good. I do want to straighten up this ribbon here. It's kind of cut a little bit crooked. So I have my ribbon scissors. I always designate my ribbon scissors with a ribbon so that I don't accidentally use it for cutting paper. There we go. So we've got that one straightened out, and I think I'm going to lift this one a little bit higher as well. There we go. That shows a little more of the blue. I love it. Doesn't it look good, you guys? Now, to add the finishing touch, hold on, I've got to find it. Somewhere I have sequins. Where are they? Oh, here they are. I have just but 6 sequins left. Now when I do my giveaway cards, I'll probably break into my gingham gala sequins because these are the basic self-adhesive sequins that you can find in our catalog. They are carrying over into the new catalog, which is great because I love them. But there's this one sheet that's really iridescent, almost like rainbows. And so that's what I'm going to use for this card. So I'm just going to take it. You could use take your pick tool or a paper piercing tool. We're just going to drop a couple of sequins on here. So we'll put one there, one there, and then one more. And we'll put that one up here, I think. There it is. So we've got our 3 sequins on the front. Now, just for something a little bit fun, I've got 3 sequins left. And because I didn't really do anything on the inside of the card, I'm just going to add a little fun to the inside of the card. So I'm going to take my sequins. Sequins are great embellishments for the insides of your card because they don't add any bulk. So we're just going to drop a couple of sequins here. And when I send out this card, I'll just have to write around the sequins, but they'll give a little sparkle on the inside of the card, which is kind of fun. All right, so here it is. We are done with this video. We have 2 cards, and we made the Hummingbird cards today. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of my Stamping to Share community. I truly appreciate you. I'll be putting up all the links for how you can order this on the Stamping to Share Facebook page that will be connected with this video. And I hope you have a great day. And I hope that next week I can announce that I've earned the trip to Maui. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.